Well, hello, my name's Mandy from Mandy Sorts It Out, and I've challenged myself to stick to a budget for a year so that I don't dip into my savings, but I just live out of the rental income that I get from renting out my family home. I've been doing this for 3 months now, so today is a day for review of July and a 3-month review to see how well I've stuck to the budget. So I'll go through my spending for the last 3 days of July since my last review at the end of week 4. And all I've spent is £3.99 for an ADSL cable that I needed to try and improve the strength of my internet. I've done a little film to show you the problem, so I'll drop it in now, and I'm hoping this cable sorts the problem. So here's my modem plugged in the corner of my bedroom, and the signal isn't getting through very well to my lounge. So what I want to do is get a new cable so that I can move my modem and I can put it underneath this chair. Clear line of sight from here to the chair. So I think once I'm able to move it to under that chair, hopefully I'll get a much better signal in my living room. But if it doesn't, I might need to buy a plug-in signal booster. But they're expensive, and I haven't found one that doesn't have a number of negative reviews. So I'm hoping that this cable sorts the problem, but if it doesn't, I will look into what I can do to resolve the issues. It's just my signal strength is very weak in my lounge, and I think it's because the signal is going through 2 walls of a bathroom, one of which is tiled with various plumbing, the metal bath, and then metal storage heater. Really hope that I have a better signal in here, because at the moment it's causing me problems. I'm downloading things and they're failing because the signal drops out. That's my only spending for the last 3 days in July, and I have no income either. So for the month of July, I'm going to pop this up here. I'm not going to go through this. I went through it completely at the end of week 4. I'm just going to say that my income for the month, you can see there I've listed week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And that was a total income of £1,429.54. And my spends in July for food, I had a budget of 108, petrol 35, incidentals 50, toiletries and cleaning 23, and phone £5, for a sum total of £221. And every month I give myself a budget of £221 to cover those items. And at the end of the month I have £11.82 remaining, so I have underspent this month, which is good. It all helps towards making sure I manage to keep to the budget that I've set myself. And now we'll look at the year from 1st of May 25 to 30th of April 26. Income for that period was £4,853.91, and I've got all my budgets listed there. Again, you'll see them here. The budgets total just under 18,000 because I worked out that my income was about £18,000 a year. It was about almost exactly £1,500 a month. So it's about 18,000 a year. So I budgeted for £17,984 or thereabouts. So my spend for the year so far is £3,782.74, which is over £1,000 less than my income. So I'm doing well so far, sticking to my income. And I have £14,201.26 of my budgeted spends unspent. So in the next 9 months I will be spending that money on those items. And I wanted to see how that income and spending was in terms of the year as a whole. So I looked at the spends and timed it by 4, and that came to £15,130.96, and that is less than the 18,000 more or less that I thought I was going to spend. So that just shows you that this quarter is a low spend quarter. And I'm really grateful that I started when I did, because if I'd started with a heavy month and I was now looking at a position where I'd spent more than my income, I might give the whole thing up. I might think I'd failed. But now, because this has been a light spend quarter, with so many of my bills falling due at other times of the year, I feel like I've put £1,000 in hand to spend when I need it. So I feel like I'm ahead. So that's very motivating. But I think it was pure luck that I started when I did. In April, I was thinking, I'm spending too much of my savings. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to work going forward because I keep having times of real difficult fatigue. So I thought I better keep my savings because I might need them in the future. So I've got to learn to live on a lower income. And so I looked at my income, times that by 4, and that came to £19,415.64. Now, this could mean that this is a particularly high income quarter. I did get 2 lots of bank interest, and I don't know that I'm going to get any more bank interest until April. I got some compensation as well that was just a one-off, won't happen again. It also could mean that I've underestimated my income. Maybe last year was a low income year because I'm getting the rent from my house and I have to spend out on the house. If anything goes wrong, that needs repairmen to go in, and that obviously reduces my income. So maybe last year was a high year. Some things did go wrong last year and need repairing, quite a number of things. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to be because I don't know what might crop up this year. At the moment, I've got in more income than I was predicting, and I've spent less than was really predicted, and that's good. That's got me in a good position. I was thinking about last year because up till April I was not living to a budget, but what I was doing was giving myself £20 a day to live on, and I was keeping a record of that. Sometimes I overspent, and I overspent particularly when I moved here because I needed to buy curtains and things for this flat. I was thinking, is there any way of telling how well I'm doing compared to how well I was doing before? And I thought yes, because if I exclude the car, miscellaneous and housing, everything else would have come out for £20 a day. And I know I overspent on that £20 a day because I'd write that down every week and I'd put any underspend or overspend in a graph at the end. So I know that I was overspent by a couple of £100 before I moved here and started spending on the things I needed here. So I was thinking, right, I can kind of work backwards and see what I was spending before I started on this budget, because I can work out what 20 times 365 is, and then I can add the cost of the car, the miscellaneous and the housing to that, and that came out at £19,552. So that's roughly, with a couple of £100 difference, that's what I was spending until I moved here. Started spending a bit more on the things I needed here, and that's why I was digging into my savings, because my income is around 18,000, so I was spending about £1,500 more than I was getting in. I find that really uplifting to think that I've improved my spending so much, because 19,500 basically near enough 20,000, and then you're looking, if you divide that by 4, you're looking at 5,000 a quarter, and I've gone down to £3,782.74 a quarter. I know it's not quite 5,000 a quarter, but it's a big difference, and I'm very impressed with myself. I'm very thankful as well to all the frugal channels that have enabled me to think that I could do this, because I wouldn't have started this. I didn't think I could cut it down anymore. But seeing other people who are managing on less, I thought, well, yeah, if they can, I can. So that gave me the motivation to give it a good old try. Really hoping the next quarter goes as well as this quarter's gone. Some spending will have to come out of next quarter. I know my car insurance is due in September. So yeah, anything else that's coming up? I think it's going to be quite quiet for August. I don't envisage much happening. I may go back down to Bristol. I will go back down to see my mum at some point, but that might not be till September. I'm going to see. But I might go down to help family out again. I don't know if that's going to be necessary, but it may be. And just to review the other aspects of this channel as well, I feel that I've made a start, at least, on looking at my clutter, that I'm going to put a little video in here and show you my clutter, how it's all piled up there, because I had someone staying, so I needed the room, so I piled it all back up. And it's quite dismal looking at it, really. I need to get through that. I need to whittle it down. I need to sort it out. I was feeling a little despondent because the only things I've managed to actually get rid of is a handful of photographs. I mean, I'm very pleased that they've got new homes where they'll hopefully be appreciated, and they'll be with people who can tell if they mean anything. But it means I haven't actually really done much to cut down the size of the clutter that I have to carry around with me if I should leave this flat. But I have made a start at cataloguing it, and that's more than I've done before. So I'm not counting it as a loss. I wish there was a bit more progress, but I'm not counting it as a loss. And with retirement, because I did that video on it and it was in my thoughts, when my friend came to visit, we had a good old chat about retirement, and she had some ideas that she gave me and I'm pondering on, and slowly a plan has been forming, a cunning plan, and I think it might work, but there are a few things I need to find out specifically about how the UK treats certain issues like lump sums coming from a foreign pension, and what tax implications there will be for me overseas if I take some lump sums out of my pensions, and whether I can take lump sums in different years as it's a defined benefit pension. I don't know how they work in that way, really. So there's some things I need to look into and find out before I do anything next. But I feel quite upbeat about it. I feel like I have a path. I've just got to see if that path goes somewhere or if it fizzles out. So I might be able to take early retirement. I will be semi-retired in that I will be trying to create extra income at times. I'm going to continue working for councils, doing counts at the vote election time, whenever they crop up, which isn't that often. I'm going to try and find little income opportunities like that I can plug into, because my health is so up and down. I don't want to be in a position where I feel I'm letting somebody down who's relying on me. I don't want to be in that position, and I think I might be lucky enough to have the ability to not need to work. We shall see. I mean, I can't stay in this situation. I find it a little bit unpleasant, really, having a house in one country and living in another, and I want to sort it out. I want to get it all sorted out and straightened out. I think there might be complications if I was to die and the property was over there and I was living here, and I don't know how inheritance would be sorting out with that. But I think there would be complications, and I just want to get things sort of in a much more straightforward and easy position. So I feel like I've made a start. It's 3 months since I started the budget, but it's a month since I started. I posted my first videos on the 2nd of July, and I thought I'd do a little review of how YouTube's gone as well. I was trying to create videos for a few weeks before I actually posted my first video. The problem I was having was finding a video editing software that I could get to work. I tried one that was recommended to me through Microsoft Store, and I could not get that to work at all. So I looked for another one and got a Clipchamp, and that's been really easy to use. I've felt very happy with that. I use YouTube Studio for clipping and snipping my video and snipping bits out, because I find that much easier to use than Clipchamp for that. But I've enjoyed making the videos. It's really focused me on thinking through what I'm doing. It has stopped me buying things. I've been in shops and thought, oh, tired, I'll just buy this, that and the other for dinner. And then I thought, well, I'll have to justify that on YouTube. And so I haven't. So it's helped me stick to my budget. And it's kept me decluttering. I thought I need to do a video on decluttering, so I better get the tubs out and have a go through them. So it's kept me on track with that. So it's working in the way that I hoped it would work. So that's good. Am I sad that I haven't suddenly taken off and loads of people are watching me? Of course I am a bit. Part of me would love that, but I can also see the plus side to that. As a lot of people said, just start your videos on YouTube. You don't get many people watching at the beginning, so you can make errors. And I really needed that at the beginning, and I think I still do. There's an awful lot I've still got to learn about YouTube. I'm a lot more comfortable in front of the camera now than I was at the beginning. My first video, I was so nervous. So I'm quite pleased in a way that things have been quiet. There's an awful lot of people watching YouTube, so there's lots of chances for me to find the people who will enjoy what I do. I don't really want to get a whole crowd of people watching who don't enjoy me, because that won't be pleasant for either of us. So realistically, I am quite happy with it as it is, although I sometimes have to remind myself about the benefits of not having too many people watching. Yeah, I would like more comments, definitely. So on the whole, yep, happy with YouTube and how it's going. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Okay, take care. Bye.